You've just entered the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. If you've come for actual legal advice, you need to turn right around, honey. You need to get out of here, 'cause you ain't gonna get none of that. They quibble, and they squabble, and they bicker. But if you want to hear meaningless opinions, this is the right place. They got plenty of that. Stuff that makes no sense at all. They go off on tangents. It's crazy talk. If that's your thing, keep listening. They'll keep talking.
Oh no no, oh no no, it's another episode of the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. You've entered the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker.
Welcome back to another episode of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker on this March 3rd, 2021. Today we have all the way from the Great White North in the land of the Quebecois, we have Phil Better, who is the owner and chief engineer of Invest in Yourself, the digital entrepreneur podcast. And he's going to be helping us out as a guest attorney to discuss the name of the client that I just completely forgot, which is... Oh, yes, our client.
You can't compete
if you're obsolete. That is correct.
Can't compete if you're obsolete, right.
Exactly. So, Phil, we just gotten through doing a whole show with Phil on his show, which, if he's smart, he'll just burn all footage of it. But
I'll only release the back end. I won't release the front end.
First off, I'd like to greet Phil in the language of his people. Je t'aime, Phil. Je t'aime.
Je t'aime aussi, mon amour. For those that don't know, he said he loves me, and I responded with, I love you too, my love. That's what
Lots
My little radish.
Yeah.
You feel like
I'm
a
an
radish?
Look,
Oh, that's a term of affection in France. My little radish. Apparently.
Radish. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll remember that when I'm over in France.
Yeah.
So
tell us about the Invest in Yourself, the digital entrepreneur podcast, for the millions of listeners that we have.
Well, first of all, I want to thank each one of you for first being a guest on my podcast, but also inviting me to be on your podcast.
You had all of the millions of listeners on your podcast?
Yes. I had 1 million listeners on the podcast.
Wow, that's a lot of
the
interviewing.
podcast is pretty much me interviewing entrepreneurs who have made it in the digital space, either pre-COVID or post-COVID, like yourselves. And they pretty much tell their story about how they got started, some tips they have done. Season 2 is actually launching in 2 weeks. And the first guest is a Rust YouTuber. Within 6 months, monetized his podcast, monetized his content, and amassed close to, I think he's at 3,000 fans on Instagram, on YouTube.
You said Rust? R-U-S-T?
Yeah, so Rust is a video game, on a computer video game, where it's a survival-based game where you have to get resources and build and fight other people, in essence.
You know that it never sleeps, right?
Yes, it never sleeps.
Okay, good. Yeah. Rust never sleeps. That's an old man reference, just so you know, to a Neil Young album from way back in the day.
It's a boomer reference here,
which
meaning?
you should.
Yes.
Well, it's a Canadian boomer reference.
It's true.
Because Neil Young is, from Canada, so
he is. He's a good Canadian boy. That's why he's so beloved all over the world. But yeah, so I've had the founder of Gas Digital, a 5 million download a year podcast network. He went from strip club DJ to co-founding the podcast network. I've had authors. I've had the Book Boss, which is an amazing guy whose job it is. His prime goal in life is to help 1,000 medical professionals write their story. Help them get published. So I'm going to be working with him. I'm not a medical professional. I'm a podcast professional, but I'm going to be working with him probably later this year to write my book, or write a book, because I have a story to tell. Everybody has a story to tell. And so, yeah. And season 2 finishes with Dom Einhorn, probably destroying his name, and I apologize. He is the co-founder of Unicron Startup Incubator and Accelerator out in France, and he has this huge event called the Startup Super Cup, which is where he's getting angel investors for the startups that are in his incubation company so that they can keep growing. And he provides everything but the business for them. So he'll handle the legal, the HR stuff, because he's done it before. And so that the startups can focus more on building the business and not have to be like, okay, who's my accountant? Who's my lawyer? He's like, we'll take care of that. You just build your business, make it better.
And he gives them like a really nice cup or something.
I don't know.
You said it was a super cup.
Well, no, that's that's the event where they're having guest speakers and investors from all over Europe and the US come in to judge. I guess I'm not really sure what the Super Cup is, because he explained it briefly, and to be fair, it was like in January that I talked with him. So I have to re-listen to the episode. But yeah, it was an incredible episode. He's been in the digital marketing space since the early 90s, like pretty much when the internet came about. And his first thing was helping starving artists sell their art online.
So how do people find your podcast, Phil?
It's very simple. All you have to do is go to Google and go investinyourself. You can go investinyourselfpod.com, and that brings you to the podcast website.
Okay, investinyourselfpod.com.
Yeah.
How long have you been podcasting for, Phil?
This podcast is only a few months old. It started in December of last year, but I've been podcasting on my other show called The Phil Better Show for 5 years now. I think 5-6 years. I've been in the.
What's the
industry.
topic of that show?
That show was about movies and TV reviews, and that I would have my co-host DJ Overflow, a great Montreal DJ, and we would just discuss about either the news of the week that was happening, review a movie, review some TV, chit chat. Sometimes we had guests on, sometimes we didn't. But it was generally just overview of pop culture, because at the time I was like, oh, I love pop culture. Yay, I can be rich off pop culture. No, you can't be rich off pop culture. You can't. Unless you own a comic book shop, then you can, throw in that you're a comic book owner and hey, listen to the podcast and come to the podcast.
But Phil, you can love pop culture and you can do a pop culture podcast or YouTube channel, and there's something to be said for that. I think. Oh, yeah. I think a lot of in the entrepreneurial space, I think a lot of us sometimes focus too much on making money. Mm-hmm. Not to say you shouldn't, but there's a certain amount of, I don't know, doing what you want to do in life because it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And sometimes things like having a podcast or doing a YouTube channel or doing something silly. I make no money doing this podcast.
You made 2 bottles of rum.
I did. And having said that, let me bring up Gubba Rum.
I'm ready for a shot.
Gubba Rum. If you haven't had it, you should take a shot.
Look, there's flecks of coconut in it.
I suppose I should bring my bottle up too.
Can you see the flecks of coconut?
Here's where it will not get disappeared.
But Phil, I mean, from a strictly entrepreneurial point of view, I have another bottle of rum that's a vanilla bottle of rum. If I really was to try to work out the math, this bottle of rum is worth $1,500
of lost work time. You mean, right?
Of time that I spent to get Gubba Rum, which was well worth it. Yeah. And Gubba Rum is a really fantastic rum. But anyway,
it's wicked smooth.
And it's not advertising with us at all, by the way. So it's not a sponsor of our show.
Well, they sponsor us by sending us rum.
We do not have any sponsors for the law offices, Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker, other than Greg's alcoholic sponsor at AA. It's the only sponsor.
Phil, do you have sponsors or ads? Do you have enough?
So at the current moment,
Vikings. It was Vikings, I think.
It's NordVPN. I use
Vikings.
It's not the Vikings, not yet. I'm trying to get the Vikings, but they're too far off. I'm planning to go to Scandinavia and try to coerce them.
Or Minnesota.
Could get the Minnesota Vikings.
But
I am working on it. To be truthful, I am trying to get a sponsor for the podcast because as much as it's fun doing podcasting, it is an expensive art because you have to pay for hosting, you have to your website, you have to pay for, you have to pay for your editor if you can pay an editor, and it's very time consuming. So having a sponsor would be really nice. And so I'm working on it on the back screens, trying to see if there's anybody who wants to sponsor the podcast or anything like that. But right now I'm just doing affiliate marketing pretty much with NordVPN. And I explained that in the episode I had you guys on. It's VPN is just something that hides your IP address online, which is your computer address, so that no one can hack you or follow you online. But yeah, getting a sponsor isn't that hard, because already businesses are spending like 100 something million on podcasting, or 60, I think it was either 16 million or 160 million dollars on podcast advertising. And so as long as you can show somewhat of a value to it, to the company, they'll be willing to sponsor you. The guest Ralph Sutton, the gentleman who runs Gas Digital, his first sponsor was actually the strip club he worked at. He went up to his boss and he was like, "Hey, do you want to sponsor my podcast?" He's like, "I have a huge following in New Jersey," and his strip club was in New Jersey. And the guy was like, "Yeah, how much?" And he's like, "Well, how many months do you want?" He's like, "I want 5 months." He's like, $50. And he's like, "Here you go." He literally opened the wallet, gave him $50, just like that. So all you have to do is ask, because you never know. If you don't ask, it's a no. But if you ask, it could be.
So he was charging $10 a month for the advertising?
Yeah.
That's a low ball.
Yeah. Well, he didn't know. Like, you decide how much is your podcast valued at. You decide how much is it to advertise on your podcast.
Yeah, all I'm saying is there, Matt, that $50 is more than zero.
It can buy you a lot of pizzas.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know I got the math hat on, but I'm just saying that
show off.
Zero is less than. So maybe you guys should go hit up all the strip clubs in Portland.
I'll do that. I don't mind. The strippers.
Let's
I'll
do
ask the
it.
strippers in Portland.
We could have like a weekly stripper interview.
Yeah, because they could be the guests and they could come up with an imaginary problem for you guys to solve horribly.
Yeah,
I think my imaginary problem will become real with the woman who lives in the house with me.
I mean, who needs legal help other than a stripper?
Especially in these trying times,
criminals.
In these trying times, I mean, the stripper industry has obviously been affected by COVID. I think they need our help.
They do.
Bill, do you know that in Portland, right when everything shut down in March, like everywhere, this local strip club started their own business called Boober Eats.
Yes, I read about that.
It's amazing, and they did really well. I don't know if they're still going, but for a few months, he kept everyone employed. The bouncers were the cooks or whatever, the janitors. Everyone was employed. Better than nothing, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Matz would tell you, yeah, they weren't making great money like they used to when they were strippers, but they're still making minimum wage, basically, at least.
Yeah, they're earning a living, and they're not, screwed by a government that didn't want to send them money.
Yeah, but they would walk, deliver food to your door dressed up in like hot pants, tube tops and shit.
Look, as a red-blooded Canadian, and as straight
male, other Canadians don't have red blood?
No, there's some that have white blood. We don't talk about them.
White-blooded
the Newfoundlandese.
Hey, you're not allowed to make fun of Newfoundlanders, okay? That's Canadian right. Okay, only Canadians can make fun of our Newfies. Okay, no one else does.
Newfies.
Yeah, we
okay.
call them Newfies.
Is that racist?
That's the drug that they give to people in Newfoundland to take.
No, it's Screech.
Make them
Screech is the thing that they give them. If you ever go to Newfoundland, you have to get Screeched in, which is they give you this homemade alcohol that's frigging strong. You take a shot of it, and you have to kiss a fish. I shit you not.
What kind of fish? Like a shark or a cod or a flounder?
I think it's a cod.
You have to kiss a cod.
I kiss fish all the time.
And we actually need to add something like that to the show. We need to have like a daily kiss a cod moment or something.
But also even here. Wait, you want to know how?
6:15. Time to kiss a cod.
It's cod fishing time.
Let's hear more about the Newfies. I want to hear more about.
No. This is even better. In Yellowknife, okay, which is one of our territories. It's
Yeah.
Where all the
there's a
white-blooded
bar.
Canadians are.
Yeah, it's Northwest Territories. I know.
Yeah, it's in the
Yellowknife.
Northwest Territories.
Yeah.
There's a bar, I can't remember it, where they have a mummified toe that you
I think I've
put
heard
into-
this story before.
You put it in a shot and you take the shot. It's $1,000 if you swallow the toe. You're not supposed to touch the toe. There's an old myth that it was the former owner way back when he lost his toe because of frostbite, because Canada is freaking cold. And so he broke it off, and if you want, and people take shots. So I think they're on like their 5th toe or something by now. But
So
yeah,
you have to pay $1,000
no,
if you swallow the toe.
Yeah, if you swallow the toe and you remove the toe from the premises, it's $1,000. But if you take the shot, it's supposed to hit your teeth, and like you're like, oh wow, I did this crazy fucking thing. But yeah.
Well, wait. I need to understand something. So
that's a lot. That's a
you
lot.
You said
to
they've been
unpack.
through like 30 toes.
Oh, 5 toes. 5 toes.
Okay, 5 toes.
There's still 5 more.
5 toes.
So where are they getting the new toes from?
I
is
have
my
no
question.
idea.
They're like hitting the local morgue. Are they digging up people from the cemetery? Are they just getting random guys in the bar? They take them out back and hack them off?
I don't know. Maybe if you swallow the toe, you have to donate the toe. That's the job.
That'd be fair.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Is it a big toe or is it like a middle toe or a little? It's a big toe. So the big toe's in the shot glass.
Yeah.
Taking up most of the shot space.
Well,
apparently.
they have a special shot so that you get the actual like ounce of alcohol plus the toe.
To misquote David Bowie, I'm afraid of Canadians right now. I've never been afraid of Canadians, but now.
Well, let's look at this. Okay, Canadians are dominant in hockey. Okay, we skate on razor thin fucking skates with big ass sticks, and we hit each other with it. Okay. We play shinny. Regular Canadians play shinny. Shinny is just pretty much the skates, gloves for your hands, and the stick. That's it. There's no other protection. So you're getting your shin hit from the puck or the sticks, and we just continue playing it. And we play on thin ice, thick ice. We also drive our cars on ice for some reason. I don't understand that part of Canadian culture, but it's part of Canadian culture, driving for ice fishing.
So shinny comes from the fact that you get your shins hurt a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should make you the 51st state of America.
Please don't.
Right in.
Please don't. Please don't.
You fit right in.
No.
Oh no.
No. When Quebec was deciding to separate, there was actual talk of the U.S. Quebec becoming a territory of the U.S.
Just Quebec,
because Quebec wanted to separate, and I didn't understand how it would work. Like this is back in like the early.
It would
90s.
be like a tumor for the United States, like sticking up out of the top. It would be like a growth that
a boil.
Boil, yeah.
Quebec would be the boil of the United States if that were to happen.
Yeah, how could you sell that to the Quebecois? Just be like,
you can't. Trust me.
By the way, you don't have health care anymore. Sorry.
Yeah, it's pretty much you lost health care. You lost your payments from the government, that supports everything, and failed economy.
And your abortion
we do have a great set of beautiful women. Our Quebec women are gorgeous, simply because they all pretty much are descendant of whores.
What? That is a strange genetic theory I've never heard before.
It's not a theory. So
all whores are gorgeous, and so thus all women descended from whores are gorgeous. It's a theory.
It's a theory, but here's the proof of it. Back when we were being colonized by France, because only men would come over, they needed the population to boom. So they literally went to all the whorehouses in France and sent them over as the king's women.
Did they Shanghai them, or they gave them a choice, or they just knocked them?
I think they weren't
sure
in
Hong Kong, Greg, so they wouldn't be shanghaied.
Yeah, it's criminals and
what I'm talking
whores. Yeah, it's criminals and whores were sent over.
Welcome to Quibble.
Yeah, welcome to Quibble.
Yeah,
we're quibbling already over where we're going.
Already, it begins right off the bat.
Yeah,
Quebec has Quibble-qua.
That's what you are.
Yeah, it's Quibble-qua. I'm the Quibble-qua of this podcast. But yeah, Quebec has a very interesting history. If you ever decide to look up, there's some really fucked up shit in our history. I love it.
Mostly involving like unnatural acts with bears, I'm sure.
Yeah. So what? I mean, going back to being Canadian and being in the U.S. Why are you better than us?
You have healthcare.
If you want specifically
the number
hockey.
one is healthcare. I'll give you the lowest hanging fruit. Healthcare. How about that? We have healthcare.
But we had somebody else who's Canadian who said that it's just really, really hard to get an appointment to see a doctor, though, with your free health care.
So if you're lucky enough to have a family doctor, not really, but we have clinics that we have walk-in clinics. You get the appointment. It's for very serious things you pass really quickly, but for minor surgeries, they would consider non-threatening, life-threatening surgeries. Yeah, it will take you a while to get because we're dealing with the serious shit. But also we had a brain drain because you guys said doctors don't have a cap. And so all the doctors were like, wait, we can make how much as a doctor there? Our doctors that stayed actually refused a pay raise. They protested against it.
Wow.
Get out.
I shit you not. They were thinking of increasing the thing, and the doctors were like, no, that's not fair.
Wow.
Meaning
how many doctors
taxes?
do you, well, we're also taxed out the fucking wazoo.
Yeah.
And the corruption and the taxes and all. Quebec is very corrupt.
Like
we actually had.
Is it Quebec or is it the federal government?
No, the federal government is a different level of corruption.
Okay.
The Quebec government is pure corruption all the way through. Back in like the 50s or something like that, or 60s, they were trying to get rid of organized crime, and so they would have criminals would own these buildings, these three-story buildings, right? And on the first floor was the bar, the second floor was the gambling den, and the top floor was an office, an empty office pretty much. The cops would literally run in, go all the way up, padlock the office and say, we shut down a gambling ring. Well, there's still gambling going on because the cops were all in on the gambling. And the politicians.
That's the easy way to do it.
And then just recently, so in Quebec, we have the island of Montreal. We also have the Île de Jésus, which is the island of Jesus, which is.
Wait, could you say that again?
Île de Jésus. There you go. Yabba dabba do. So it's the island of Jesus, pretty much.
The island of Jesus.
Jesus Flintstone.
Yeah, Jesus Flintstone, or Jesus' Island, if you will, which was owned by nuns. But the mayor of the island, he was literally caught having a bribe. He literally said, his recorded said, yeah, just leave the money on the table. Pretty much. The envelope with money on the table.
And how long ago did this happen?
Maybe 5-10 years ago.
Okay.
Well, I mean, not to go, oh yeah, right, Canada. The mayor of DC was smoking crack with a hooker.
No, that's Toronto. That's Toronto.
No,
that's Toronto.
No, your Toronto mayor, who is, God rest his soul, was really a piece of shit. But I'm just saying, the original gangster was Marion Barry of DC, who was like smoking crack with a hooker and said, what did he say?
Bitch, set me up.
Bitch, set me up. There you go.
And then he got reelected.
Because he got stung by the...
And then he got reelected.
Well, he didn't get reelected to mayor. He got elected as a commissioner of one of the wards in the city. Like, it'd be like being a councilman. And he got reelected to that numerous times after the whole going to jail for smoking crack and getting busted by the FBI.
I've never smoked crack with a whore, and nobody would elect me to any office in America. And I've never smoked crack with a whore.
I would elect you to the TV show The Office, Greg.
I wouldn't elect you to shit, Greg. And
I know.
I would elect you to be president of a burger company. That's what I would do. I would put you, since you're the king of flipping burgers, I would make sure that you're the president.
They'd be out of business in a year.
That's fine.
I'd spend all the profits on the comic books where like Superman's first.
No. You don't have
appearance.
access to the profits. You just run the company. I have access to the profits.
Oh.
You're just
Okay.
a manager. Yeah.
You're just a manager.
I can run it good. I know my
There
shit.
you go.
That's right. He
There you
would
go.
actually make the kids care about flipping the burgers
There we go. That's what we
Yes.
need.
and
With
salting
whips.
them, and salt the burgers and not spit on the patties and stuff.
Don't
So-
spit on the food.
I'm sorry. It's hard not to.
Oh, trust me,
It's hard not
I've
to
been a
spit
fast
on
food
the
worker. I know. I've been frontline service industry pretty much my whole life. The Karens are tough. They're
By the
polite
way-
in Canada, but they're bitches.
Bill,
What
I
about
wanted
the-
to ask you though. Do you have a job, like a day job, or just
Yeah,
what you
I
do?
have a day job that I currently. Yeah, so I have a day job.
It obviously makes him sweat, Greg. See what
Yeah,
you've done to
yes.
him?
The day job is for a financial institution, so I have to be very careful with what I say.
You should say a different
Oh.
financial institution.
No, because if I do that, then I get sued.
Oh,
Like we do have libel laws here in Canada, so I have to watch.
say
what
it
I
that
say.
you work for an American financial institution that's not
Wells
in
Fargo.
Canada.
Technically, my financial institution is an American financial institution. as
Oh,
well.
okay, fine.
Yeah, they have branches in this. They have a bank in the U.S.
So
Yeah,
you
thank you.
Canadians come down here from the north and take a job from a hardworking
Nope,
American.
no,
Is that
no,
what
no.
you're saying?
No, no,
Is that
no,
a waste? You
No.
illegal Canadian
No.
immigrants.
He
Really?
works for the Bank of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker.
Really,
Yeah, that's what I
really,
do.
Greg, that's where you're going with this. Oh my god.
Yeah, I did.
We're gonna start a law.
What can I say?
We're gonna start a bank. Are you serious? I know in the States it's easy to start a bank. In Canada, it's a little difficult.
Well, I was trying to give you an easy financial institution to be part of, and that's one since it doesn't
the Gubba
really. Exist.
Silver Rum, which isn't a sponsor, but
I'm
will
gonna
become a
let the
sponsor.
owner of Gubba Rum know that he's getting a lot of free promotion today.
Can I take a shot with this?
Well, no, I can't do it right now. So, but anyway,
All right,
so we
I'm
do have a
taking
client.
shot,
We have a
brother. Ready?
client. We have a client that once again, because our client earlier today got basically shoved into a corner and ignored, and
Oh.
all the money they gave us for retainer was wasted because we gave them no attention whatsoever.
From
So we have to
NASA.
give a little bit of attention to our client today, which is can't compete if you're obsolete, which essentially means that there are technologies and businesses that have gone under through no fault of their own, but because things passed them by, right?
Yep.
And one of my favorite ones are bathing machines. I don't know if you guys are familiar with bathing machines. or not.
Fuck
What
is
are
a
you talking
bathing
about?
Machine.
Ha ha ha! So
Got
bathing
me.
machines are something that was popular like in the 1700s and 1800s, which more than like the
Oh,
UK.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right. So
Going
baby
that far back?
machines were
Well,
like,
it's like they went obsolete. It fits with the theme.
I had
for
one of
crying out
those.
loud. So essentially, it was kind of like almost like an outhouse type of thing, where a person would go into it to change their clothes if they're going to the beach, so they get into their swimwear, and it was for like the women who were more elegant, who didn't want people to see them bathing. So they would then have taken by horse into the water. The entire device, with the whole outhouse type thing, would go after they changed their clothes. They would go into the water from there, from the bathing machine, and whenever they were done, they would go back in and get pulled out by horses and change their clothes back into their normal
That's the
clothes.
stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
So
Stupid
But that
first of
was
all-
done for propriety's sake, which
I
you
know, I
don't
get it.
you don't understand about
But how
propriety. That's
stupid
why,
are those
Greg.
people?
So first off, I have to say the guy who invented that fucking genius. First of all, that's a genius device. It's a useless device or useless
Yes.
contraption. But the fact that he was able to sell it to the rich just shows how gullible the rich are.
Well, they were the
Yeah.
only ones who apparently went into the ocean for bathing purposes, I
Yeah.
guess. But it was
Well-
mainly for propriety's sake. It was, back in the days when you didn't show your ankles and stuff. You want to can't
I
have those
still
things.
don't.
But if we want to go to like basic things, like what about sundials? Nobody's buying lots of sundials anymore, are they? Clock
No,
came
'cause we
around,
have-
dead.
because we have something called a phone.
Another clock's dead.
The
Watches are
clock's
dead.
dead now. Too.
Pocket watches are pretty much dead.
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
pocket
the pocket
watches.
watch.
But people do have
Not
watches.
many people do wear them though.
A lot of
No,
people
they
have
have
wristwatches. Many people have
Uh,
wristwatches.
It's,
When I
it's
was
the
no,
Apple
I don't
Watch.
know anyone who wears a wristwatch. When I was
A whip-
younger, everyone did.
Or a wristwatch.
A wristwatch, with a wristwatch.
Brandon's over here going, what the fuck did I get myself into again?
Yeah.
Brenda's feeling the effect of the rum is what's happening.
I would love to have a wristwatch if I could afford one, because I miss looking at my wrist and just seeing the time. I don't like reaching in my pocket every time I look at my phone. I'm that lazy. I want to know the time all the time.
So why haven't you gotten a watch then, Greg?
Why don't you get a sundial?
It costs money.
Get a sundial, Greg.
Get a sundial.
I had some goddamn point I don't remember, but I can say this. Fuck all of you guys.
Okay. Welcome.
Well, thank you for that. Is that
no? I'm not done.
Your statement was obsolete.
No, I'm not done.
You still have to asparagus more.
Shut the fuck up, Greg. Here's what I'm saying. There's something to be said for a sundial in terms of just the organic nature of it. The light, the shadow, and
so how do you tell the time? Look, the problem with a sundial and why it went obsolete is because the minute the sun goes down, you can't tell the time.
And
it's cloudy.
And maybe you don't. Maybe, just maybe, you don't need to tell what time it is, and that's the point.
Time is only.
Well, I don't think they were planning a lot of major bank robberies around sundials, so they didn't have to synchronize their sundials to make sure that the dynamite was going off at the right time and that they were out of the place before it went off.
It says it's past 4. You idiot! You're looking at it the wrong way. Oh no.
Time is a flat circle. You know what I mean?
Time is relative.
Phil, you might understand this as a young millennial, a fucking millennial.
Oh, geez.
Boomer.
I always thought it was so weird that it seems like all the young people I know hate getting a phone call. They just why could you just text me? God. And
you want to know why?
To me, it's ridiculous. It's like, okay, so you want to go back to the telegraph. Alexander Graham Bell made a wonderful invention, the telephone. And all of a sudden everyone forgot and said, let's go back to the telegraph, getting little messages, having to spell out shit. Instead of just talking to someone, miraculous invention. Everyone hates it now.
It's not quite the telegraph, Greg.
It's the same, whatever. You gotta.
Oh yeah, have you been using a lot of Morse code on your phone recently, Greg?
Stop. I write stop after every sentence. Matt,
over.
Let's do the podcast at 4. Stop. Matt, see you tomorrow.
I'm just doing smoke signals. This is the guest we have on today.
But to me, the message
fire is in my corner.
The beauty of the telephone is you could actually talk to someone, hear the inflection in their voice. You wouldn't have to text them back. Oh, wait, what were you talking about? You have a conversation.
So because this is the thing, as someone who has to work on the phone all day, I hate talking on the phone because I have to deal with people whose level of intelligence I have to question constantly to myself. So if I have to get on the phone to talk to someone, it has to be very, very important and to the point. Whereas a text message, I can be like, on my way. I don't have to call you to tell you, hey, John, I'm on my way.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying, don't you like to have a nice conversation on the phone with a friend who maybe lives in another city? It's nice to call them up. Say, how you doing? And convince for an hour.
Greg, no,
I hate people.
I hate people.
And it's fucking not efficient and it's bullshit. I mean, I don't need to talk to people. They got nothing worthwhile.
I don't need chit chat. I don't need chit chat.
Yeah.
Small talk, all that shit.
You guys realize that's exactly what's happening right now.
But this is different. This is different.
Should we just get chit chatting right now, guys? Should we do a group text right now to stop the show? Start group texting each other
so everyone can enjoy it.
The thing is, for me personally, I've been in so many meetings at at the job that could have been a fucking email.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
and that is wasting my time. And I like efficiency. Texting is efficient because you get straight to the point. If it's something important that I need to tell you and I don't want anything to be misinterpreted, then I'll call you. But if it's just a 5-second, like, hey, what's the plan for tonight? Because I know when I get on the phone, I'm not going to stop talking because I love talking. I like the sound of my own voice. I don't like listening to my voice, but I love talking.
Regarding the sound of your own voice, what do you like best about the sound of your own voice, Phil? Is it your accent or is it?
I don't have an accent. You have an accent.
The timbre.
Well,
everyone has an accent.
You said about earlier.
A boot.
You said about.
The boot and A. Listen, get it right. I'm a lumberjack.
So if you love the sound of your own voice, that means there's aspects of it where you go,
No, I like being able to talk and
makes my nipples hard.
Bullshit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I just
my voice did that to me, everybody.
I think Brendan's dead. He's passing out. I think
Brendan, are you okay?
I just think that Phil's voice makes my nipples hard.
No.
Don't worry, I'm not going to masturbate to you later. I'm masturbating
right,
to
but
Greg.
we do run a risk at this stage, depending on how much rum is going down his gullet, of if he might start doing it to you, and his wife will come in again and whack him in the back of the head.
I love how he just looked behind. He's like, "Is she there?"
Oh, I hope so.
I'm just trying not to get beaten.
That'll be rating.
I don't want to be assaulted.
Again.
God damn it!
But at least you have two other lawyers who can help you, Quibble and Squabble.
No,
we are not lawyers.
They did not help me at all.
They didn't even warn you.
Jeez. No.
She was like a lightning bolt.
It was
she
fast.
came in and just like pat, and then walked out.
I gotta watch this episode.
You got to. It's an hour in, pretty much an
hour
hour
in. Okay,
like an hour and 4 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
But it's worth seeing the lead into it all.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna watch the whole episode.
Yeah.
I enjoy.
You'll get to experience Gubber Rum all over again.
Ooh, I like that.
Vicariously.
The reason I love talking and learning with people, Gubber Rum, the best rum from Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Hey Phil, would you say it's wicked smooth for us?
It's a wicked smooth bike.
It is wicked smooth.
Wicked smooth.
I would say
car
it
in
is
Harvard Yard. It's wicked smooth. So for me, I love conversing with people when, like, doing a podcast. I'm like, good. Or if I'm at a bar chatting up, because I used to work at a bar, so I'm used to talking to people, and I love talking about random shit. But if you're gonna talk to me on the phone, have a point. I have no time because I have.
All right, but you can't speak for all millennials. I mean,
no, I speak
lots
only
of
for
them,
myself.
Right. So it's like he was asking, why is it like a younger generation
It's
prefers the text as opposed to?
It's efficiency.
I don't know, but I've seen some of the stuff that they type to each other, and they're typing it for an hour, where they could probably get it over with in a much shorter period of time. If you're talking efficiency, they could get it done a lot faster if they're on the phone with their friend, as opposed to tapping away with their thumbs.
Well, most of the time they're doing it in school. So they learned it in school. So you can't take a call at school, but you have to text when you're in school. So it's coming from there.
Surreptitious, we're talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
it becomes a habit based from school.
Yeah, that's all it is, because it was more efficient in school, like doing it that way. Whereas back in your day, you didn't have cell phones, so you had to do well, back in my day, you guys were back in the stone tablet day.
Back in your day, Matt. Okay, boomer.
Oh yeah, because I'm so much older than you, old man.
No, I was.
Although this week I do get to start using my senior citizen discount at Denny's.
Congratulations.
Yes.
I love when I go to Denny's with my dad.
I think I'll get $1 off of the meal. Woo!
Nice. I can't wait.
My dad was so excited. So in Canada, we have you get a card. When
2 more days. 2 more days it happens.
Well, happy birthday in advance.
Well, thank you.
You get a card that you get to show people, and you actually get a subscription to Old Timer magazine. I don't know what the name. It's
called Old Timer.
No, it's not. I call it Old Timer magazine.
Love that.
That gets mad at me.
I mean, it's better than AARP, which is American Association for Retired People.
It's the Canadian. So it's
crap. Canadian.
I think so. It's the crap. That's why I call it the Old Timers magazine.
The crap magazine.
Yeah. But we have something similar that my dad gets.
Or CARP, I guess. Canadian Association for Retired People. But
so he gets CARP. And I'm like, really?
And then you get to kiss the magazine, so it's like kissing the fish. Yeah. It all ties back in.
Everything's related. Everything's connected. But yeah, so...
To whores from France.
Exactly. All whores from France. We're all descendants of whores from France. Theoretically, we're all kind of descendant of whores, if you think about it.
Yeah, I've always felt that I was a whore.
I'm glad I raised the cup to whores, because without them, people wouldn't have fun.
I've often said my mother's a dirty
to whores.
I'll drink to that.
Wait, I got to pour a shot. Hold on.
Have you seen Greg's shot glass yet?
No, I've seen like glimpses of it. What is it?
Give him a full frontal there, Greg.
It's an old Japanese.
You put it in front of the
erotic
camera,
art.
you crazy person.
It's a sake cup.
Oh my God, that's an amazing cup.
Sake.
That's a nice cup.
She's a lot of cups.
Greg rubs it against his halberd often.
I'm hoping that's a nickname for something else.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not, Phil.
It's an actual
Hey,
halberd.
Guys, I wanted to bring up something about Obsolete. Something I noticed over the past 59 years I've been alive is
59.
I don't know how old I am right now. So
Too many
I find
shots.
it fascinating.
Do you know who your mother is, Greg?
I find it fascinating that there's certain things that they went obsolete, but right when they were becoming a thing. Like, for example, I know this sounds weird, but fanzines. Remember in the 90s?
No.
Well, you don't remember, Phil, but in the
I was
90s.
5 years old in the 90s.
Yeah, fanzines were getting really hot. The national press was saying, "Hey, what's up with these fanzines? Fanzines are cool."
Okay.
And
Question.
then 5 years before,
Greg, let him ask his question real quick.
I was trying to finish my sentence, but
Greg, shut the
What's
fuck
a
up.
fanzine?
I was trying to finish my thing.
No, but tell him what a fanzine is, Greg. Like you
A
and
fanzine.
IPs, he doesn't know what fanzines are.
Phil, you really never heard of a fanzine? Is that real?
Oh, a fan magazine.
Yes.
Okay. We just call them magazines here. We don't give them a specific name.
Oh.
We just call them magazines.
That's because you're not a douche like Greg is.
What? No, that's what we call them. Fanzines are like, basically, they're not magazines because it's like some guy goes to the copy shop, makes 100 copies. You know, like it's street level art. It's like punk rock.
Yeah,
no,
Publish it.
I get it, Greg. Can you get to the point?
I was, but you wanted a definition of fanzine, so I stopped my point.
I didn't need a definition of
not you,
fucking fanzine.
but Phil did. Phil did, though.
All right, fine. Phil needed one. All right,
Phil is a child, Brendan, and he has to be educated.
He's a
All
young.
right, whatever. Greg, make your point. Please.
I'm trying to. Okay, so I find it
Before I
fascinating.
get assaulted, please make your point.
Make sure you tell that out louder, Brendan.
Just don't masturbate. So as I thought it was fascinating that fanzines, right as they were like becoming a thing, literally the internet came around a few years later and just demolished them.
Well, that's
when
when e-zines came about. It was because of the internet. Like
The what?
fanzines moved to the internet, became e-zines.
Well,
Electronic
some did.
zines.
Some did and some did. There was a lot lost. when
Right,
it went
and
to the
thank
internet.
God for that.
But there's also things like this is another weird thing I've discovered is that animation, for example, because of Walt Disney, animation in 1950, there could have been a movie as cool as Star Wars. It doesn't cost more money to animate lightsabers and crazy special effects, but they just thought, no, animated films are for children and there will be songs.
Have you
Finally,
not
when
seen
the 80s, 90s,
what is that, hard metal or
heavy metal?
Heavy metal,
That's
that's not a child movie, man.
No, I was about to bring up in the 80s and 90s.
Hard metal is the porn version of that movie.
Finally, America's consciousness said, hey, animation could do other things. We could actually show some cool shit right before CGI. Basically said, who gives a shit if you do this? Now we have CGI. We don't need animation to show us things we can't film.
What the hell are you talking about, Greg?
I think he's trying to.
You don't understand that?
I don't understand you.
Matt, someone in 1950 could have had the vision to use animation.
So here's the thing:
The Matrix, but nobody thought of that. They thought
I'm gonna throw down some knowledge on you, Greg.
Yeah.
As I studied
hold on, wait.
Knowledge is wasted on me, Phil.
Greg.
So I'm going to lay down some knowledge for your listeners.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Insanity.
I want to just state for the record for our listeners, I don't know what the fuck Greg is talking about.
I don't think the listeners do either.
They know.
They followed his train of thought.
Phil has some knowledge for our listeners, though. So
Phil, drop science on me.
I'm not going to drop any science. I studied sociology, anthropology in university. So looking at it, each generation, each decade, a new technology comes in that's super fun to play with, and it's cheaper. Everything gets cheaper.
Like sex
so they
robots.
saw sex robots are cheaper than actual whores. You pay once and you never have to pay again. But but when it comes to animation, it costs so much money back in the 30s and 40s and 50s to animate because you had to pay these artists so much money and to create the technology and all that. Then you get, and no one had any ideas. because no one was thinking outside the box. And then the next generation, oh, what can we do with this and this? How can we make this cheaper? Everything's getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. When the internet first came out, to buy a website, you had to have like $100 something. Now you can get them for like $15, a dozen for $15. You know, like it's super cheap to buy domains and make websites and everything like that. Like,
and then we lost Brendan.
Brendan, you were live.
Brendan's video went out and his audio went out. You're currently muted, Brendan.
He's giving us the finger.
Brendan. I was just getting ready to say, Brendan, wake up! And then
Susie,
video went out.
Wake up.
All right.
But yeah,
now
so
his
generation, everything gets
all right,
cheaper.
I'm here.
And that's why you're seeing, like, before
Please
podcasting
continue.
boring you to death. So you look at podcasting. Podcasting is like radio for everyday people. Everybody can make a radio station now with a podcast. So now we're taking, everything is becoming, with the internet, the invention of the internet, everything's becoming cheaper and cheaper to do.
So we're making audiences obsolete.
No, you'll never make
because the audience is becoming the creator.
Well, yes, but there's going to be creators who are going to be audience members of another creator.
Like us.
So, yeah.
So everyone is God, is what you're saying.
Yes, everybody can be God now.
Okay, Greg. You can
it levels the playing field.
It does.
You create your own religion now, Greg.
I've
wanted to for years. What a great scam.
What would you call your religion, Greg, if you were to start one?
You know what my scam was? I know I'm not creative enough or charismatic enough to make my own religion. I would just take what Thomas Jefferson did, like Christianity, but take out all the bad stuff, all the hateful shit, and just start a cult about that.
Thomas Jefferson did that?
It's called
he has a Bible, the Thomas Jefferson Bible. He cut out all the nasty shit from Revelations, all the stupid shit from the book of Judges, just the nice stuff that Jesus said, which as an atheist, Jesus was a cool dude. He said a lot of great things.
He hung around with whores and lepers. Who doesn't want to hang around with whores and lepers?
Yeah,
well,
but
maybe not the leopards.
St. Paul came in. St. Paul was a fucking misogynist, homophobic piece of shit. And he wrote a lot of the Bible. And a lot of the hateful things are St. Paul. Cut that out. So modern people can say,
follow. You know what the fuck are you talking about, Greg?
St. Paul.
Greg, you've woken Brendan up. Okay.
You've woken the dragon.
And you're going to have to educate him about what's going on.
Are you saying Brendan's woke?
No, I'm not woke.
For Florida, he's as woke as it gets.
He's the woke Floridian. If you
will. So
yes, you are the woke Floridian, Brendan.
He's the only person who won't become the Florida man, if you will.
Oh, he's done.
So what the fuck are you talking about, Greg?
We were just trying to figure out what he would call his own religion, but he was going on
St. Paul was
hatred.
St. Paul was an asshole, and Jesus was what? Cool.
That's the name of my religion. St. Paul was an assholeism.
I love it.
Okay.
Brendan, I don't have a name for the religion, but for years I thought this would be if I wanted to just make money and bilk people, because I don't believe in any of that. But I think I could make $1 billion if I had a little bit of charisma, which I don't.
You have enough charisma.
If I had a slight amount of charisma where I could be like a church leader.
Have you not seen the Mormon church? There's no charisma there.
No, Mitt Romney, I think, is a good-looking man.
Wait,
in fact, I'm going to start masturbating right now because I have no one to beat me over the head about it.
Okay.
All right, so as opposed to making this all about bashing people's religious beliefs, which really wasn't the point. The point was, what you would call yours if you were to have one.
Now I got to think about it. I never thought about it. Call it like the Church of Christ and fuck all the other guys who wrote the Bible. No, I don't know.
It'll go over well with the Christian community. I can see it going well.
Yeah.
You could be a Gregitarian.
There you go, Gregitarianism.
No, I would call it like Christitarianism.
Christitarianism.
Just okay. Jesus. That's all I want from the Bible is what the nice things Jesus said. None of that bullshit.
Greg Stefarian.
No Old Testament crazy nut shit. No revelations, all that nut shit.
Hey, as long as you say I'm still allowed to eat pork and I don't have to cut myself, snip. I'm down.
You do not have to cut yourself. If you've been doing it recently, you should stop anyway.
No, I haven't been cutting myself.
And that'll make you feel better about yourself.
That's why I have the name Phil Better.
So that I can make bad jokes like that?
Oh, you're the last. You're not the first. You won't be the last.
Oh, I'm certain I'm not the first one.
No. Most of my bosses.
Guys, in case you didn't know, Phil Better is his nom de plume.
Yes, it's my nom de plume.
Oh, I was wondering. Yeah. It sounds like a therapist. A great therapist name.
So technically, because of my day job, I have to be different on social media. But my last name is just the English version of my actual last name. That's all it is. So my actual last name is Better in French.
Oh, so if somebody were to ask you what the name for Better was in French, what would you say?
Nice try. Google.
That's not French at all.
Google. Le Google.
Google.
Le Google.
Le Google.
His real name is Phil Google.
Yeah.
And you have Google eyes right now.
Yeah, you can.
Yes, I have the Google eyes going on.
Matt has the Google eyes.
I had to turn the ring light on because it's getting dark.
Yeah.
In my neck of the woods.
It really? That's a French word? Google?
No, it's not.
Oh, I believe you.
You know,
oh my God.
I'm so sorry.
Greg, you're okay.
I'm not. I'm dumb. I'm gullible.
Greg, I just want to say you're okay.
And he loves you, Greg.
You.
And he wants to be near. He wants to be near you, Greg.
Shit him, Brendan. Shit him.
You're just okay. That's all I'm saying.
You're just okay. You're right on the verge of being fantastic, but you're just kind of okay.
You know what needs
fair
to be
Midland? Would you say I'm fair to Midland?
You know what should be obsolete? What I want to see obsolete? What? Politicians.
Well, so unfortunately, they're kind of a necessary evil.
No, they're not.
You don't think
AI is trying. Look, the problem with politicians is
they're human.
They're human. So if we put a computer in charge to make all the laws and all that shit to make, we're fine.
No.
Did you see 2001, Phil?
Have you not seen The Matrix or Terminator or any of that stuff?
Yeah.
Look,
you don't want to put a computer in charge of anything because it has no feelings.
Yeah, but look, here I had this discussion with my father before.
Yes.
When
your father was right.
He was wrong.
Listen to your elders, Phil. Listen to your elders.
No, when it comes to this, no. Look, technology and AI it's going to come no matter what. We can't stop it. It's going to happen. So the sooner we accept that fact, the easier.
We will become food for each other.
No, we have.
Soylent Green is people.
It is, but look. Humans are dumb as fucking shit. We're tribal. We're stupid. We start wars for no reason.
Over tuna.
War of 1812. Do you guys remember that? We kicked your ass, but it was a pointless war.
And what makes it funny is that no American realizes that they fought Canada.
Yeah, they didn't.
You guys always say you kicked our ass, but most Americans are like, we had something to do with Canada?
They burned down the White House.
We burned down the White House.
It was the British who did that, though.
Nope, it was Canadian soldiers.
Canadians and the British.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm going through this with my daughter right now. The War of 1812. Canada did not kick our ass.
You guys tried to invade.
You got to understand. No, he's actually right, Brendan. The fact is that we attempted to take over Canada and they prevented us from doing it. Yeah. That's how they view it. We don't look at it as we tried to take over Canada. We just look at it as like something that happened in 1812.
What part about burning down our capital don't you get as a defeat
we literally
for America?
Picked you back past your White House and we burnt it down.
Yeah.
The British timeout. The British did that. The Canadians didn't do that. It was both
of them combined.
So, Brendan, you do realize that Canada at the time was under British rule, right? And we were subjects of Britain. So theoretically, being subjects of Britain makes us Britain. Thus, when you say the Britons burned it down, who are you talking about? Because they didn't ship fucking soldiers over from Britain. They used the soldiers that were in Canada.
I.e. Canadians.
Oh, Phil, you made him squint. Good for you.
All right.
You have to remember.
I've seen that look a lot, Phil. I've seen that look from Brendan many times.
Speaking of obsolete, we can go back to Great Britain.
Hey, that's a hard left turn.
They're not obsolete. It's a wonderful country.
Well, in terms of the monarchy having actual legitimate power, that's gone become
yeah,
obsolete.
I think monarchs, as great as some of the monarchs are, they're obsolete. There's no need to have royalty controlling a country anymore.
That's the problem with monarchy. Is like you could have a great king, but then their son might be a piece of shit. So like it's such a dumb system. Like, oh my.
Unless you do what the Polish used to vote for their kings.
Yeah.
So the king would stay in office. Yeah, it would be a king. They would have like ultimate control. But whenever they when the king died, they would vote in a new king. It wouldn't be automatic. No, it wouldn't be automatic. It wouldn't be automatic.
Which monarchy is like good?
Every now and
then
there's a good king.
Treated its people well.
Yeah, no, but I got the idea that somebody said that. Yeah, some monarchies are good, some aren't.
Look, if you look at the current British monarch, it's good. They bring up tourism. They bring in tourism for for England, with their and all the great stuff they do. But if you look back in time, no monarch was good. Like I personally want them out of Ireland. For the longest time, I have of Irish descent, and I want them out of Scotland because I'm of Scottish descent as well. But that's something that maybe will happen, may not happen. But I never understood people's need to say be a royal. Like they're just like everybody else. And I think more and more, like with the Meghan and Harry interview that Oprah's doing, we're demystifying the royals, and that he's falling asleep.
Phil, I think you like the monarchy in England now.
I'm not falling asleep.
People, they don't have any power. They don't have any real power.
Exactly.
So yeah, they just do charity. But if they were actually in charge of England, they'd probably do some shitty things because power goes to your head. So it's not really a monarchy. Let's talk about real monarchs when they actually control things.
Like the monarch in Spain?
Yeah, or just a long time ago, like when most countries are run by monarchs. It was a bad system, just a very dumb.
Oh yeah,
I'm saying.
You weren't saying anything, Brendan. What do you mean? All you're saying?
But he's now saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
All you're currently saying.
Okay. What I'm currently saying, Matt, is that monarchs are kind of bullshit because who gives a shit? And they were genetically,
Look, they ended up. Do you guys know the saying "blue blood"? What it actually means?
I don't really give a shit, but go ahead.
Is it because the inbreeding?
Yeah, it was. They made their skins. Your skin needed to be so white that you could see the veins. So if you're blue-blooded, it meant you were so rich and so pale that you could see the veins in your arms and that. That's what.
Which worked really good for the Russian royal family with all the hemophiliacs.
Do you know that's why the Hindu gods are blue? The Hindu gods are blue because in their caste system, the whiter you are, the better you are. So they figured if you're a god, you'd be that white. Like
so white, you're blue?
Yeah, you'd see the blue.
So what did they think about blueberries?
They loved them.
Who gives a shit?
Did they worship blueberries?
No one gave a shit about blueberries.
They didn't like blueberries.
Brendan is all about defecation this evening.
They didn't like blueberries or Count Chocula in India. They hate that shit there. It's against their religion.
So let's name something else that's gone obsolete, and then we'll just work our way through here. So
this
what about
podcast?
Betamax, Walkmans, laser discs? This is more current stuff.
I think laser discs are going to make a comeback. I can feel it. They're on the rope, but they're coming back.
Hey, let's
yes, right. People
vinyl.
want a disc that holds information.
Yeah. Can we talk about vinyl? Back. How weird vinyl is that vinyl came back? Vinyl was
the reason vinyl is coming back is because
people are idiots.
The quality of sound is actually way better.
No,
if they can't prevent them from skipping, they're worthless.
Well, you're not supposed to jump around.
No, Matt. There is a definite difference between digital and analog.
Yes, there is a difference. The difference is
the sound.
One stays with you, and the other one eventually is destroyed by a needle, or by the breathing on it, or by whatever the fuck happened to vinyl records, which made them useless after a certain period of time because of the fact that they skip all the goddamn time.
Well, you have to
That's why vinyl sucks. And that's why I will never be buying another vinyl album. The only thing good for albums really was the cover art. That's the thing that I am sad about is like the cover art.
Liner notes.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. That was the fun part of albums. But the records themselves suck ass. So there you go.
That's a really, really strong statement, Matt.
Okay. Yeah, but he's right.
It's unusual for me to make statements like that. I don't usually.
No, it's not. But okay.
Do make pronouncements. I'm in total agreement with Matt.
I'm all for MP3s.
Records I love the fact. Noise.
I love the fact of an MP3, like, because Spotify is destroying MP3s pretty much, and Apple Music is taking care of that. But I love going over to my when COVID wasn't around, going over to my DJ friend's house because he has this massive collection of vinyls, and we would just put it on, sit down, and just enjoy the music coming out of the speakers, and because it's a different quality than when you're listening to digital. Because you get you hear
scratching and popping, and you hear
hissing.
Yeah, you hear all the annoying crap that's on the goddamn vinyl. Sure, I understand. Listen, I grew up with vinyl. I know what you're talking about.
I know,
but you have to remember, I
know. So you don't have the annoyance that like lugging around your vinyl collection. Yeah, you don't have to deal with that either.
No, because it's all in my friend's place. I just have to show up there if I want to listen to anything.
Like, you'd be so careful with your records. You like take them out gingerly, put them in the dust sleeve, and then the next day, it's your favorite song. You started skipping. You're like, what the hell happened? No, why is this happening? This piece of crap. So I'm sure they're going to make digital music better. It's going to get a higher quality. It'll have its day eventually. Just like many things
with the cheapness of the internet. Soon the internet's going to be free pretty much because Google is making it pretty much super cheap. Like, if you think about it, there are so many businesses that use Google service and Amazon service we haven't had the internet drop. Like a while ago, we like a couple of weeks ago. The internet and most of Google services were dropped because of a situation that a third party nearly let a hacker into their system. But there's going to be a time that it's going to be Star Trek, because my generation, the millennials and the Gen Xers, grew up with this. I have no shame. I used to hate millennials, and then I understood that the only reason boomers hate millennials is because they're making everything cheaper. And making it more
they just need something to bitch about, the boomers.
Oh, yeah.
That's their problem.
Yeah, the boomers grew up in hate. The boomers just have hate in their hearts. The Gen Xers,
they grew up because their parents had a lot of sex after World War II.
Yeah,
and they had to deal with the fallout of the men who had gone to war and all of the killing they had to do, and then holding all of that anxiety and angst in about how they destroyed other lives, and then take it out on their kids who became boomers. Yeah. So that's kind of what they went through.
And don't forget, they grew up in the Depression too, so they were pretty bitter.
The boomers didn't. The parents did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The parents had to go through the Depression, then World War II, then come home. It would be pretty hard to be a good parent after all that shit. Trauma you went through.
Exactly.
And we're just every generation is just getting better at how to deal with the trauma and learning it, and that's all it is. Like, my generation, the millennial generation, the generations coming afterwards, we're fed up of politician doublespeak, because it's fucking bullshit. Like, a politician comes into office, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. The minute they get into office, they're doing the exact same shit the other person was doing, and it's like, what the fuck? So right now there's a big fight of the generations going on. You have the boomer generation.
So we Gen Xers were just as fed up as you about it, but we were doing too much heroin to care.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. You guys were doing the hardcore drugs, the coke.
Yeah, we didn't do anything about it. But
there's definitely surface tension happening right now. There's a lot of surface tension, and we're getting drops here and there, which are popping the surface, and we're seeing it in different areas. And I'm kind of like, go for it. There was an episode we did a while back called Revolution is in the Air, and it's like, you can see there is going to be some kind of sea change, if we haven't seen it already, to a certain extent, that's going to be even worse than what we went through during the COVID era. But I think it required COVID and Donald Trump to make these things come to light for everybody, because we're all being held captive by COVID, by the virus.
So what happened was, everybody was moving, because the world was moving so fast and everybody was stressed. No one had time to actually look at the issues. The minute COVID hit, everybody's stuck at home. So we're consuming more content, and we're consuming content that we didn't consume before. So you're learning about all these causes, like that. You're seeing the George Floyd videos, you're seeing Aubrey Taylor, you're seing Breonna Taylor, you're seeing all these these people who were like, why are they being killed? And like my generation is going, this isn't fair, this isn't right. And so it goes in waves, actually. Like, so the boomer generation kind of had theirs with the civil rights movement, right? You had that big movement where we're going on it. I feel like we're watching Blair Witch right now.
Yeah, we don't know where Greg is going right now. He's like,
I hope it's not the bathroom.
It's definitely the bathroom. We're about to see something we don't want to see. It explains why he's muted, though.
Thank God for that.
Yeah.
But there was a guy that actually did a study. I can't remember his name, but he actually mapped out, and he pretty much predicted 2020 was going to happen. The social change, not the coronavirus, but the social change of and the mass upheaval that was happening in society at the time. So it's coming. My generation is just really fed up of how shit was and how we're treating people. So we're leading the charge, and Gen Xers are leading the charge as well, because they're fed up as well, but they need someone else to start leading it, because you guys dealt with like the hippies, and you saw all that, and you're like, no, we don't want a part of that because it's too much stress, and you saw the stress that your parents went through.
So you think that Joe Biden is
no
the leader of our generation?
No, he's not. So this is what I think is going to happen. I like Joe Biden, but he's still part of the old generation that double speaks.
Sure.
So what I think is going to happen is you're going to have, probably after Joe Biden's presidency, after either the 4 or 8 years, Kamala Harris is going to run, and she's going to probably win. She's going to probably run with OAC, because that would be the smart play for her, and she's going to end up winning because
AOC couldn't win.
Yes, she could.
She could.
Nah. I mean, she's good for some people. She's a good lightning rod, but I don't think she's appealing enough for the overall masses. Personally,
so this is where you're gonna end up losing, because my generation is coming of age, and we are a big portion. We control social media. We grew up in social media. We grew up with the internet. We understand how to use social media.
Grew up with apathy in video games, which means it's very hard to get to a ballot box.
Hey, we had apathy in Gen X. We invented that shit.
You guys invented it. We perfected it.
That's why we know it so well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, if you look at it.
Thank you, Matt. That was really awesome, what you just said. Anyway, go ahead, Greg.
Oh, I'm done. It was Phil.
I don't even know what Brendan's talking about anymore.
I'm just rolling with it. But here's the thing.
I'm talking about the just really
I knew what Brendan was talking about.
The really dismissive fucking thing you said about what Phil was talking about.
You don't think AOC will win because of the apathy in the video games, and you won't get us the thing. But here's the thing. AOC did a game of Among Us online, and it was one of the highest streamed things for a politician. So now you have AOC sitting in front of a whole bunch of kids that in the next 8 years that are going to come to vote. Now she's building her base. She's using the platform of internet and video games to get the votes.
Well, I think it's a noble idea. I don't really personally have a problem.
This is the problem. The Republican Party isn't doing anything like this. They're focusing on the old school way of doing politicians, because they're going after your generation and older. The new generation, the younger generation, they're not focused on the youth, which is really stupid, because you guys are going to die and you're going to lose power. So if you go after the next generation,
I'm gonna die. Oh shit.
Wait, here comes the wife.
Not today, Brandon.
Lock the door.
Oh, okay.
It's a door.
By the way, if we were talking about obsolescence, our comedy has become obsolete by the end of this particular episode.
Yeah.
As we've delved into a political conversation.
I do this all the time. I derail shit all the time. That's why I think
which is totally fine.
I thought it was great.
But the thing is, you're also Canadian, so we'll take what you have to say. We'll be nice to you about it. So
hey, look, we have maple syrup. We got the good shit. Like, if you have ever had good maple syrup, not
straight out of the tree.
Is it better than Vermont maple syrup? It's even better.
This is what I want you to do. On Netflix, there is a documentary about how there was a maple syrup heist. And Quebec has a mafia for maple syrup.
A mafia?
I fucking shit you not.
Bootleg maple syrup?
No, not bootleg. The Quebec maple syrup mafia controls it. It is $1 billion industry.
I got to say, you were an excellent guest counsel today, Mr. Better.
Thank you.
And I hope you feel as well. But
I do feel better.
Is Phil your real name too?
Yeah, Phil is my real name.
Okay, so that's
the legal name.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure that it's not
your
like
name's Jacques.
Your real name's not
No,
like
not
Amanda or something, and we just change it to Phil. But by the way, everybody, he is from the podcast Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Can you tell your website again, Phil?
The website for listening is www.investinyourselfpod.com.
investinyourselfpod.com, as well as it's brought by a lot of drinking by Brendan and Greg tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh, that's unfair.
Why?
I've been drinking.
Not for me. No, it's honest.
I've been drinking. Not the
I
hard
drink every
stuff,
episode. I can't get to an episode with these guys without drinking.
And remember, the client can't compete if you're obsolete. So thank you very much, Phil, for coming on, and we're wrapping things up. No.
It's great meeting you, Phil. Thanks.
It was a pleasure being on the show, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, we did have a good time, man.
You've left the offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. It's over. It's over. It's time for you to go home. It's over. It's over. Go away now.